Mary was chosen to be the mother of Jesus, the Messiah, a highly evolved spirit of an angelic lineage, with a mission of redemption and salvation for humanity. Its main function was to provide Jesus with an environment of peace and stability, where he could grow and develop without being affected by the limitations and difficulties of the outside world. Unlike many other mothers, Mary's role was not only to give birth to a child, but also to serve as spiritual support for a being who had a transcendent and cosmic purpose. Mary, in her purity and holiness, received, even before the birth of Jesus, countless spiritual and mediumistic guidance on the divine nature and mission of her Son. From these messages, she knew that she was gestating an extraordinary being, but her understanding of the depth of this mission was limited by her human condition. His role was to provide love, protection and stability so that Jesus could become the man and Messiah he already planned to be, without the influences and distortions of the world. Mary possessed an advanced spiritual nature, which made her receptive to spiritual teachings and able to receive messages and guidance from her spiritual guide. Her mediumship was one of the central aspects of her mission on earth, allowing her to be more connected with the spiritual plane. However, this same mediumship was a distancing factor from her daily life, which prevented her from fully understanding the implications of Jesus' mission while he was still a child. Although Maria had the ability to understand certain messages about her Son, the obligations of her maternal life and daily responsibilities caused her to forget or ignore many of these revelations over time. In her early years, she experienced motherhood in a very practical way, concerned with the family's material well-being and everyday needs. This prevented her from fully living the complete spiritual experience of being the mother of a Messiah, as her attention was focused on everyday tasks and supporting Jesus in her childhood. Joseph, Mary's husband, also played a key role in Jesus' mission, acting as a responsible earthly father who provided financial support, protection, and stability for Jesus' home. However, Joseph's mission was more linked to the protection and practical guidance of Jesus, since his function was to be an example of justice, virtue and ethics, without the spiritual understandings that Mary possessed. Joseph helped raise Jesus in a safe and balanced family environment, but his understanding of Jesus' spiritual greatness was limited. In fact, Mary and Joseph, although they both had a special connection with the spiritual plane, lived Jesus' mission in different ways. Maria felt a stronger connection to her Son's spiritual mission, but José was more focused on providing a stable and balanced life for the family. Both were essential instruments for fulfilling Jesus' mission, as they created him with the values and love necessary for him to be able to fulfill his spiritual destiny. From a young age, Jesus demonstrated unusual spiritual and intellectual qualities. His perception of the world, God's laws and moral concepts was far ahead of his time, which caused surprise and even discomfort in the people around him, including Mary and Joseph. The baby Jesus was, at the same time, respectful and attentive, but his answers and reflections on spiritual questions often went beyond the understanding of those around him. He demonstrated a distinct, more mature and serene character, and his mental and emotional reactions did not conform to the social and cultural conventions of the time. Jesus not only distanced himself from the traditional practices of Judaism, but also showed a deeply just and wise nature, with a capacity for judgment that was not limited to human laws, but extended to universal ethics. The advanced ideas he exposed caused both admiration and discomfort, as he did not conform to the standards of his time, treating morality in a profound and impersonal way. Even though he was still a child, Jesus already possessed a spirit of justice that was manifested in his actions and words. He was not afraid to tell the truth, even if it put him in conflict with religious authorities or social conventions. He was direct and clear in his teachings, without beating around the bush, always expressing the truth respectfully, but also with a courage that made adults feel uncomfortable. Despite her wisdom and mediumistic connection, Mary did not fully understand Jesus' spiritual mission until the final moments of her life. Even though she was informed about her Son's greatness, she did not understand what this meant in practical and spiritual terms. When Jesus began preaching on the roads of Galilee, Mary saw this with some tranquility, as she saw him as a respectable religious leader, but she did not understand the spiritual reach and depth of his mission. Mary was not immediately impressed when Jesus began to gather disciples, and her other children, in particular, viewed Jesus' activity with skepticism and distrust. They felt that his mission had no direct impact on the family's financial situation and criticized him for following this path instead of contributing to the material stability of the household. As Jesus advanced on his public mission, Mary began to feel a growing sadness, a sense of loss, and a melancholy that she could not understand. She had a feeling that something very painful was about to happen, but she didn't know exactly what it was. This sense of anguish only became clearer when Jesus prepared to carry out his mission to the end, leading him to his crucifixion. The true understanding of Jesus' mission came to Mary at the moment of her greatest suffering, the crucifixion. When Mary saw her son silently accepting his suffering and death on the cross, she finally understood the fullness of the sacrifice and purpose of his life. The son she had given birth to, educated and loved, was not just a good rabbi or spiritual leader, but the Messiah sent to save humanity. In this moment of pain and anguish, Mary recognized the greatness of Jesus' sacrifice and his redemptive mission. The acceptance of her death was the culmination of Mary's spiritual understanding. She finally saw in her son not only the man she loved, but the Savior of the world, the one who would sacrifice himself for the salvation of humanity. Throughout the process, Mary's love for Jesus was unconditional. Even without understanding the entirety of his mission, she never stopped loving and supporting him. When criticism and intrigue arose about him, Maria always defended him, understanding, in her heart, that the suffering and difficulties he faced were part of a greater and divine plan. She never wavered in her love and trust in her son, even when the world around her did not understand his mission or judged him as a simple religious leader. Mary's mission, therefore, involved more than simply being the mother of Jesus. She played the role of a woman chosen to support and protect a divine being, but at the same time, she lived the human experience of not fully understanding what was happening. Mary was an example of unconditional faith, but also of doubt and confusion, until, at the moment of the crucifixion, she finally understood the true meaning of Jesus' mission. His spiritual journey was a constant search for understanding and acceptance of his son's role as the Messiah, culminating in the recognition of his greatness and sacrifice. If you enjoyed this reflection on Mary's mission on earth and the crucial role she played in Jesus' life, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring videos. Don't forget to leave a like and share with your friends. Together, we can spread the message of love and faith.